Hey guys, this is Carl from Custom Recording Co. in Crete, Illinois. We're a full-service vintage recording studio based on 1950s, 1960s technology. What you're looking at right now is an Ampex Sigma 3761 tube mixer. We've been talking about doing some vintage gear demos for a while now, just because a lot of people out there might not ever have the chance to see one of these or hear or use one of these. And it's really a cool experience using this old equipment. It's filled with a lot of mojo, you can call it, a lot of character. This particular mixer sounds fantastic. What you're hearing is my voice through an SM57 microphone into channel 4 of the mixer that you see. That's just the mixer closest to the knob closest to my hand here. And then the master output. These were 4 in, 1 out mixers. Nowadays we would call them a summing amp, but that back then it was just a mic mixer. The tubes that it uses are 5879 tubes, which is sort of an oddball audio tube. You hardly ever see those anywhere. They're hard to find. Luckily we have a bunch of them to keep us going in case one goes down. But anyways, I wanted to showcase this mixer in particular because today is the 50th anniversary of Bill Black's death. For those of you guys who maybe don't know, Bill Black was Elvis Presley's bass player. He was an originator of rockabilly, slap bass, early rock and roll bass, and definitely an influence on me. I probably wouldn't play upright bass if it wasn't for Bill Black. But not a lot of people know what happened to Bill after he left Elvis's band. So in 1958, he left Elvis's band, and he started the Bill Black combo. And surprisingly, the Bill Black combo had way more success, or rather, Bill Black had way more success with the Bill Black combo than he ever did with Elvis. The Bill Black combo went to Royal Studios in Memphis to cut all of their hits. Smokie, and a bunch of great hits, and which brings this particular mixer into play, because this mixer came out of Royal Studios. This was the original mixer, one of 2, which we own both, mixers that were used at Royal, and this mixer in particular cut all of the Bill Black hits and a bunch of other hits. I'll get into that in a little bit. But let me give you a little history about Royal so you have the context. Royal Studios is one of America's oldest operating studios. It probably is the oldest operating studio. It's been in continuous operation since 1957, 1958 when it started. It was started by a guy named Joe Cooey, who owned Popular Tunes in Memphis. And Joe Cooey had a partner named Quinton Claunch, who was probably one of the only guys in that area at that time who knew about electronics and could modify electronics. So Joe Cooey had Quinton build all of the recording equipment for the studio, which included this mixer and the other one that we have. So he put them into an enclosure, and he also built an echo send panel, which we also own, that went along with these mixers. The echo send took its signal right after the coupling capacitors on each channel and was post-fade, which is a little interesting because nowadays we pretty much do it pre-fade. But back then he did it post-fade. It was probably one of the first times in recording technology that even the thought of like an echo send panel was created, which is really cool. So like I said, we have both of the mixers and the echo send panel. Unfortunately, the original enclosure, we're told, deteriorated a long time ago. But we have the rack that they were installed into after that enclosure deteriorated. So technically speaking, they've been in the current rack longer than they were ever in the enclosure at Royal. So these guys were built in 1957 and installed in Royal in 1958 by Quinton, and used up until we know at least up until the mid-'60s. The guy we bought him from said that he was pretty sure they were taken out in the mid-'60s. But recently I talked to Willie Mitchell's son, who said that he was pretty sure his dad's first records were recorded on this mixer, and that he thought probably Al Green's first records were recorded on this mixer, which means that lots of great music all the way through the 60s and early 70s were recorded with these. Lots of great Memphis soul, early rock and roll. Harold Dorman's Mountain of Love was also recorded with these mixers. That's a great song, produced by our late friend Roland Janes. And I'm told that Carla Thomas's first single for Stax was also recorded on this mixer. That song was Gee Whiz. Another interesting fact was that Stax Records and Stax Recording Studio, which was just a couple blocks away from Royal on Macklemore Avenue, had almost the same exact setup that Royal had. So they had two of these Ampex Sigma 3761 mixers, and they had an Echo Send panel, which I can only imagine Quinton also built for them. And they had their setup up until 1967 or 66, maybe 1967, until they got their Audiotronics board. But if you want to hear the sound of these mixers, just listen to any early Stax recording, any early Royal high recording. They're super fat, they're punchy, they're sort of tapered off in the high end a little bit, which can add to that punchiness sound without getting too shrill or anything like that. Again, I'll say right now I'm talking into an SM57 microphone, and even a 57 mic on vocal sounds great through this mixer. So yeah, that's about it. I'm sorry this video was so boring. I promise in the future that we'll have a little more exciting videos with better production. But being that this is the 50th anniversary of Bill Black's death, I thought it would be real fitting to showcase this mixer. Oh, by the way, what you see is our workbench here at Custom. And this is out of the workbench because we're updating some of the wiring and tube matching and cleaning out some of the pots and things like that. So pretty soon this will be back installed with its brother. They have matching serial numbers, which is cool, or consecutive serial numbers rather. And we'll also be adding a meter panel and a talkback, slate functions, some transport functions for one of our Ampex machines, and I think we're also going to add a mix-down panel which converts the mic inputs into line inputs. So I'll be building some pads for that. That way we can mix down from a computer if you have computer files you want to mix down, or mix down from one of our multi-track machines. Just makes it a little more flexible that way. Yeah, so that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed this, and go listen to Bill Black today. Go do it. Smokie, Part 1 and Part 2. Go listen to him.